Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we got 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, single bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly.
Welcome to Bengals and Brews. I'm Del Altman, joined by Pork Chop as always, BSG as always, and special guest today, former Bengals tight end coach, head coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks, offense coordinator of the Arlington Renegades, longtime NFL player. The list goes on and on. Coach for Oklahoma when they won a national title in 2000. It's a long, extensive, incredible list, Coach. We're joyed to have you with us.
And birthday boy next week, right?
Yes.
All right. Happy birthday early.
Birthday. Thank you.
25.
You're right.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you for taking the time.
Of course.
Let's start. So your playing career, you played football at Iowa. So I just got to ask right off the bat, you're a tight end guy. You played tight end. Are you the one who set the tradition for this Iowa tight end, the tight end university, basically?
Yeah. So I have a T-shirt upstairs, and some of the younger guys made it, and they put my name at the top, which I was very humbled by that when they put this T-shirt together. But it was pretty cool, and yeah, I don't want to say. I guess I was the first one to get drafted out of there to go play the position. And, you know, I had a solid career. I really enjoyed it, had a great opportunity to go play with a bunch of good teams in Kansas City and in Pittsburgh. And just were around a lot of good coaches, a lot of good people. Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, Bruce Arians was on those staffs in Kansas City. Just some really exceptional coaches that end up becoming head coaches. Mike Mularkey, his first year as a full-time coach, when he came to the Steelers, I had to help him teach him the offense and the nuances, just because I had already been there, and just help him just how we call things, and, you know, just catching him up to speed. Not that he didn't understand it, but, you know, it helped that someone in the room could talk it. And since we were the same age, which was also crazy, because here I am, and, you know, Mike was done playing earlier because he had some knee issues, and now he's coaching me, and we're the same age. And that was a different dynamic than I've ever had before. So, but it was, you know, really an enjoyment. And needless to say, my college coaches, you know, I had a legendary coach in Hayden Fry, and then Barry Alvarez was on that staff. There was a lot of Bill Snyder who end up, I mean, if you talk about college coaches and turnarounds, he might have had one of the greatest turnarounds ever in college football history. When you take that Kansas State program that was 0-40 at one point, wow, and for him to take them to all the different bowl games. And when we went to the national championship game, we had to beat a Bill Snyder football team for the Big 12 championship in Kansas City. And it was only 24 degrees that night. And it was one of the greatest games as a player or a coach I was ever involved in. And we end up winning it, and we go down to the Orange Bowl, beat Florida State. And win the national championship. And, you know, I had just retired a year or 2 years before. And when after retiring, Bob had said to me, you know, if I get an opportunity, I'd like you to come work with me, because he used to have me come and talk at their clinics when he was still coaching at Kansas State. That was before he left and went to Florida with Coach Spurrier. And I told him, I said, if you get an opportunity, I would seriously consider it. And once he did, he called me. We talked. He named me. I coached the tight ends and tackles. I coached the H-backs, and I was his special teams coordinator. And then, as your career grows, and Mark Mangino left to take the Kansas job after we won the national championship, and Mark left. We went the next year, and then Mark left and took the job. Well, shoot, I was fortunate enough. Not only was I coaching special teams and the H-backs, tight ends, then I became the interim offensive line coach for the Cotton Bowl. So my experiences are very in depth in different things that I've had an opportunity to do. And it's funny because when I was playing for Marty, I was the emergency tackle if something happened to our tackle. We had a couple guys go down and get hurt, and during a couple practices, he's like, "Hey, John, go in there and get some reps at right tackle." And I said, "Okay." So I go and get reps. But that was the NFL back then.
Hey,
I was the emergency long snapper. You had to learn to do more than one thing. It wasn't as specialized as it is now, and it also help you think the game and grow the game, and those are the things that were, for me, was just a great opportunity to be a part of things like that. So, like I said, I've been fortunate to be around good people. Marvin Lewis came to us. Marvin came and worked the Bill Walsh internship in Kansas City. And the best part about it all, Marvin's from McDonald, Pennsylvania. Marty Steinheimer's mom and dad are from McDonald, Pennsylvania. My mother's from McDonald, Pennsylvania. My great-great-grand, I'm sure Jay might have told this story.
he did, yeah.
He did, yes.
And Marvin's great-great-grandparents formed the First Baptist Church of McDonald, and my great-great-grandparents. So our relationship goes so far back, it's unreal. And same with Kurt Schottenheimer and Marty Schottenheimer. We all knew each other. And that's how, when Coach came to Kansas City from Cleveland, he said, "John Hayes, I know you're tough because you're from Pittsburgh. You're from where I'm from." And that's how I got an opportunity to stay there. Because a lot of times, as you guys know, with coaching changes, that means personnel changes too. And he knew I was a tough guy that would play hard. And, as they say, availability is best ability.
Yeah.
And, I didn't get hurt a lot, fortunately. So I was always available to go play. And that's the key, I think, as much as anything, to having a good career, is being available and being able to play even when you're nicked up and hurt.
And then you coached several quality tight ends during your time with the Bengals, including Tyler Eifert, Jermaine Gresham. Could you tell us a little about both of those guys? And just, they were fantastic.
And CJ too. I had CJ Uzama, Matt Schobel, Reggie Kelly. Now, they weren't the ball hawks. Those two you named were. Now, Schobel was. Schobel ended up going to Philadelphia and getting a big contract after I worked with them for a while. Ty athletically, ball, there's probably, if he could have stayed healthy, he might be in those conversations with some of the great ones, really, because the way he could track a ball and the way he played, he was a much better blocker than he ever was given credit for. If you remember, if you go back when we first brought Ty in, he played fullback. He lined up in the backfield and was the lead blocker, because that's how, we wanted to play. We want to shorten the game. We wanted to make it tough on a lot of offenses, and we could use him that way, and he was tough enough to do it. So, and then Jermaine was an inline, big, strong, vertically fast tight end. His first, he almost broke Mike Ditka's record. A lot of people don't remember this, but if he would have had like 3 more catches in his third year, he would have had the most catches as a tight end playing 3 years. Ditka had the most at that time, and then it would have been Jermaine. Jermaine would have broke that record, and he got hurt. But and then going early in his career, hell, he led the NFL on third down conversions for a long time. People knew we were going to him on third down if it was third medium, that we were going to go to him. And both of them end up going to Pro Bowls. And then the other guy that, unsung hero, Reggie Kelly, he taught all those guys, Jermaine especially, and he taught Jermaine how to be a pro. And then, that first group I had with Reggie, Matt Schobel, and Tony Stewart, and then Brad St. Louis was our long snapper, but he was also our emergency tight end, and he actually had to play in the game. So those 4 guys really set the tone for that room and gave me an opportunity to grow as a coach. They came to work every day. As the saying goes, they were pros. They came to work every day. They were ready to work. They understood what it took. And that kind of just carried over. I've had some great ones. All of them weren't as talented and had the accolades, but, not only those 4, but then Ryan Hewitt, who I got as a free agent, and he played fullback and Y for us. And hell, in the playoff game against Indianapolis, he started at tight end because we only had one. If you guys remember, Ty and Jermaine both were hurt. They were out of the game. So we had to play with Ryan, and he did a great job for us. And then, needless to say, we brought in and also CJ Uzama. CJ ends up going to the Jets, getting a big contract. Injury is kind of caught up with him a little bit. The other one was Tyler Croft, another one. And then another free agent that I got was Matt Schobel.
Yeah.
Matt Lingle.
Yeah.
Matt ended up leaving us, going to New England, getting the damn Super Bowl ring, and then coming back. So I've had a good group of men that played for me, that worked their tails off, that they were committed to. They loved it. They loved the game. They loved being around it. I had Ben Utek we got from the Colts. Ben had that unfortunate when he hurt his neck and concussion. J.P. Foshee, he played a big role in us going and having an opportunity to get into the playoffs one year. We brought him from off the street. And I'm naming all these guys, and you might know some of these names, and some of the names you may not know. But those were the guys that helped form that room and gave us a chance to go out there and compete and win and play. And I'll be ever grateful to those men and the things that they taught me. As much as I was teaching them, I learned a lot from them, as not just as players, but as men, and how they went about their work. And I appreciated that every day ever since.
We got something here from the chat. I think this is more NFL wide and current. So do you have a favorite tight end when you're watching throughout the NFL, or maybe a couple you want to mention that you really enjoy just watching, maybe the way they block and pass catch, or from a coach, you might have a little different standpoint than just the fantasy aspect that some other people see.
I can tell these two stories. I worked George out, Kittle. Obviously went back to Iowa and worked him out, and I worked Travis out. And I tell the story, and Travis is a wonderful guy. And this year, when my daughter plays basketball at UC, and when Travis and Jason came to do the thing at UC,
Yeah.
my daughter told Travis that, my dad worked you out, and he goes, I know who your dad is, and so she convinced him not to spin her too fast so that she could win the contest. And so I said, that was smart, sis. So, but working Travis out, working Kittle out, they're both very similar in a lot of ways. Run after catch type things, and route runners, a great feel for time and space. They both have unbelievable quarterbacks throwing to them. I think George has probably had to go through more quarterbacks, and that kind of I give him the edge, just because, not that it's easy playing for Travis, but you do have Mahomes throwing to you all the time.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
I've heard.
But George, I think they're both fantastic players. Obviously, I think the kid from the Giants had just retired, and his name escapes me.
Well,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. He was another one that has great movement skills. And then you have Andrews in Baltimore. If he can stay healthy, the key, if you really look at these guys, and you have the two up in the AFC North, both Iowa guys. One's at Minnesota, and the other one's at Detroit. Laporte's at Detroit, and what's the other one? Hickerson.
It's
TJ
Hawkinson.
Right.
Hawkinson, thank you. Those guys are explosive players too, and they can stretch the field, and they give defensive coordinators headaches with one-on-one matchups, because if you put a safety on them, they're going to outmuscle them. If you put a nickel on them, now you're just going to have to body the throw. And if you put a backer on them, they're just going to outrun them. And that's what you want, is mismatches that defenses can't come up with. And I think that Travis and Big Red always teases that, he goes, you never know what route Travis is going to run. He says only a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who has an arm like that, can just stop midstream and give him the ball anyway.
Yeah.
In the middle of a throwing motion. And that's why I think Patrick has to throw off so many different levels. It's just because he might be in the middle of one, and then all of a sudden Travis just turns around because the defender's so far over the top, and he just cuts his route off. And it's smart football, and to have that kind of relationship, quarterback receiver relationship, is unbelievable. Joe Burrow does it with Jamar Chase, and when those guys made their run to the Super Bowl, the Bengals, you see CJ was really intricate part, because everyone was playing a role. And I think that's what's so when you have a trigger man, when you have a guy back there that can really make those decisions and stay calm under pressure, and can spin it, it makes all the difference in the world. And I'll be the first to tell you, I was fortunate enough to play with number 16 in Kansas City, Joe Montana. But before Joe got there, Steve DeBerg was our starting quarterback. Yeah. And if you go back in the history of football and think about this, so when Joe was at first came to San Francisco, who was the starting quarterback? Steve DeBerg.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Well,
Wow.
then when Elway became the starter, who was the starting quarterback?
Steve DeBurr.
And then when Testaverde was in Tampa and became, who was before that the starting quarterback?
Hold on,
Steve
I got it.
Steve DeBurr. And then we picked, because Marty's history, if you go back and watch Marty's history, Marty never liked young quarterbacks. He wanted an experienced guy that could go out and play. And when we brought Steve to Kansas City, and we still had some playoffs run before Joe got there, we were going to the playoffs. We just couldn't win the first game, or if we won the first game, we get knocked out the very next game. And so it wasn't until 93 when we brought Joe in, and then we go to the AFC Championship game, and he gets knocked out. I want to say it was at the beginning of the third quarter, and, things went the way they went. But playing with guys like that, when you have a guy that can get the ball wherever it needs to be, and it's, Joe would break the huddle and say, "Hey, Johnny, just be ready for the ball on your back shoulder." He'd tell you. He knew where the defense was going already. He could see the configuration. And he'd just do it with his eyes too.
Something about them Joes.
There really is. And it's amazing when you have one of those guys, because you truly believe that you got a chance every time you go playing until the game's over, and Burrows is that kind of guy. He really is. I watch him. I went down to camp, and and he's he's first of all, he's such a good athlete.
Yeah.
And then, they're just there. He's there punting the ball, kicking the ball. And I'm just going to myself, look at this guy,
He's our emergency punter.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. But that's what you need. Those are the guys that make you great. When Joe walked in the huddle, he made us all better. Montana, he made us all better. And that's just the way it was. Now, I was fortunate enough to go play in the Super Bowl at Pittsburgh, but we did it more by committee. Neil started the season, and then Neil got hurt, and Tom Zach played like 8 games, won like 5 or 6 of them, if I'm remembering correctly. And then Neil came back later in the season, and we made a run, but you got to remember, football was so different then. Jerome, hell, we just handed the ball to Jerome. We knew Jerome didn't care, and he ran up my back more times than I like to admit. I still got bruises from him running up my back. Between him and Christian Okoye, I don't know who left more bruises, but when you have backs like that, it makes a huge difference, and it makes the defense have to play a lot more honest. That's for sure.
Hey, you said you were at training camp Friday. Did any player catch your attention or anything? Like, was there a player that you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be awesome this year?
Well, Sam didn't practice. He got an old man's day, him and Henderson. But I think Joseph Osai, he's so explosive. He is. Watching him and the way he moves, and he's a little undersized, but you know what? That's what they all are now.
Geno Atkins.
Well, Geno's a different breed. All of
yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm not worried about that.
Good Lord.
Aaron Donald was undersized, so these undersized guys are.
I'm saying on the edge.
Oh
because you got those long tackles with long arms. And, that's a different animal in itself.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was watching, and I have my 2 sons with me. One's already left and gone. He plays football at the University of Virginia, Jewett, and he's a freshman. So I always have him watching him, paying attention. I said, "Tell me what you see." Between him and my other son, Jonah, both are edge rushers, outside linebackers. I said, what's he doing that sticks out to you? And they both said, "Oh, Dad, he gets off the ball so quick." I said, "That's key, man. Don't forget that." I mean, because you can't teach that.
No.
You
Right.
can't. I mean, when you got speed on the edge, that makes everyone nervous,
Well,
especially as an offense coordinator. Now you're thinking, okay, now I got to use the back to chip. I got to do this. You're changing the structure of what you really want your offense to be.
Let me ask you, you were down at camp, and Greg's asking you, anybody stand out, but like, you're the tight ends coach, man. Tell us about our tight end room. We got a blocker and Drew Sample. We got Mike Gesicki that we're all high on. And then we finally got us one of those Iowa quarterbacks or tight ends.
Yeah.
We got Eric All. I know he wasn't practicing when you were down there.
He wasn't.
He started practicing today. What's your rundown of our tight end room?
Drew's just Drew reminds me of me. He's your meat and potatoes. He's going to come in every day, work his butt off, give you everything he's got, do it the right way all the time. Mike, I worked Mike out at Penn State.
Hey.
And Mike's a pretty accomplished receiving guy, really finds the open zone. I don't know how his foot speed is anymore compared to when he first came out, but he understands time and space, and he's good with finding open areas, and he's long and can make the big contested catches. Obviously, you're not going to ask him to hold the point. That's not what he does, and why would you bring him in? You wouldn't bring him in to do that. But he's a guy that's going to be very functional, and I think that he and Joe will develop a good rapport with one another. And the young guy, he's just got to work his way in there. He's just got to earn his stripes, and he's just got to find a way to get on the field. And like I tell most guys when I'm talking to them down, same thing I told my son going to UVA. I said, you want to get on the field? Find a way to get on some special teams and make plays.
Yeah.
That's the way they keep you.
Yep.
And ask Coach, I would tell him, go talk to Coach Simmons and have him teach you how to put the ball between your legs and snap it. Because the more you can do, the harder it is for them to cut you.
There you go.
Yeah, if you can be an emergency long snapper, a special team guy, I mean, then they're going to keep you around for sure.
Right.
Here's what somebody said. I still remember the push-up penalties from Hard Knocks. Chase Kaufman, former third-round pick, from Missouri, very prolific receiving tight end, kind of like Gesicki was. Why do you think maybe it just didn't work out with him in the NFL? I mean, he seemed like a good dude. I remember down at training camp getting a picture of my daughter.
If you remember the backstory, though, his dad and I were teammates at Kansas City.
Wow.
His dad played for the Packers beforehand. Then at the end of his career, he came and played for the Chiefs and we were teammates. And Paul and I used to work out all the time in the off season together because Paul still lived in Kansas City in the off season. And I knew Chase when he was a baby, and so I wanted it to work, and it just sometimes college translating to pro doesn't always look the same. And what we were doing offensively in pro ball did not allow him to learn what he needed to do. He was very prolific in college football. I would second the guess, and they call him a tight end, but really what he was a slot receiver in college.
Yeah.
I would most likely, if you're going by numbers alone, Chase probably has a chance to go into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right?
Yeah, he was incredible.
He had like 200 and some. Well, I forget what his numbers was for as a 3-year starter or whatever it was. I mean,
there's a bunch of records though. I
mean, he had numbers that were out of this world. like I said, I can't remember them off the top of my head now, but it was unbelievable. So I think that sometimes you're not always equipped like you think you are for the next level. You just aren't. And I don't want to sound like I'm being disparaging against a guy, because I love that guy. I just think that some people are better equipped once they leave college and go to pro ball. And vice versa.
And that could be, the offense that they ran in college. I mean, just like you said, and then the talent disparity is so much different.
It's just different in how we used them and how he was used in college were two totally different things. He had never put his hand in the dirt until he got to me, you know, and so that it wasn't fair in the sense that we were asking him to do things, but that was the offense we were in.
Right. A different offense.
We weren't running Missouri's offense.
Yeah.
And that was probably bad on our scouts' part, recommending them.
Fit-wise, sometimes the fits just don't work out. And then here's a question from Michael. I'm assuming you've seen this new kickoff rule and the Hall of Fame.
I was part of that first one.
Okay.
In the XFL.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They stole it from the XFL.
So what are your thoughts overall on that kickoff rule, and what do you see being maybe different this season with that rule in place?
Well, originally when we first when it was first implemented, and they had brought it to us, of course, we had some pushback. All of us were old NFL guys, and Oliver Luck, who was our commissioner, is like, just look at it, and look at it for what it is. Don't try to just look at it. So then when they start talking about the safety aspect of it, everyone's like, well, that makes sense, because now you don't have the big far run coming down. All of a sudden, the guy's setting in a wedge. Here's a guy running from the other 30 or 25-yard line, and it's that big collision. And I get that part of it. I think that the part that people didn't think, if you guys go back and look at us against the New York Gladiators, when my first year as the head coach in St. Louis, everyone said, well, you're not going to get a long return or a gimmick return. Well, we ran a double reverse for a touchdown.
Yeah.
and I credit my special teams coaches, and we all worked on it together. Myself, Nick Siciliano, and Croc. Crocker was also my assistant special teams coach that played for us at the Bengals. And so he obviously he helped Tim Lewis with the DBs, but so we set up this return and watching tape, and we all decided we can get them. We can get them. So we ran a reverse, and I sent it to Darren, the screenshot, so he could see. I said, just for shits and giggles, in case you want to see it. And so, but you can do things. But really, if you think about it, it cuts down on the collisions. And it's either a stretch play. You're either going to run a stretch play, or you're going to run a tight zone play. Yeah, and
I think they're trying to find something so they don't have to take this out completely. That, sometimes they talk about, and I don't think they want to have to do that. So.
Are you guys doing it in high school too?
Not yet. We have not. The difference, though, too, is now if you decide to onside kick, now you're going to onside kick.
Yeah, you've got to notify.
That's where you get the disparity. Where I liked in the XFL, and which would make more sense for the NFL to start doing, just like they do for us in the XFL. Instead of onside kick, you can take the ball on the 25-yard line, you got to gain 15 yards to get a first down. Then the clock starts running if you get the first down.
Yeah, try to do something, because that onside kick thing, I mean, knowing it's coming, just everything kind of takes that surprise element out of it that made it a little more special, and a little more interesting.
But if and we had it's funny, we're sitting here talking about this, but so we went into overtime against St. Louis when I was the coordinator at Arlington. Or excuse me, I take that back. We're in Washington, and you had to get you had one down to get a 15-yard first down, and we did. We went down and scored, tied the game, went into overtime, and they do sudden death differently, which is also, I think, another thing for the NFL to look at, because I think it's a much better way of doing it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of mentioned the tight ends. Who are some other players on the Bengals that you had maybe some really good relationship with that wasn't in your own tight end room?
Oh, my goodness. Guys would walk by. I always had an open door policy. I always believed in it. Chad would always come in and talk on Tuesday.
Well,
who
85 knows 85,
who
right?
didn't Chad come talk to 185 to another 85, and he'd be walking down the hall. I say, 85, come in here. And I, up on I had a shelf, and I say, I want you to read this book. I said, and I'm going to ask you about it, when in a couple days. I want to see if you've read anything, because I just thought it was good for him. God rest his soul. Chris Henry, he and I would have some heart-to-heart conversations. A lot of defensive guys would come by and see me. And needless to say, Sam always came and saw me, Hubbard, because I had to coach him on goal line short yardage because he was my fullback. So, Jay's guys always would come by and check in.
Except Gino, because he never said anything.
Yeah,
like
Gino.
said, he just clammed
But
up
I would
when
come
he walked
outside my door. My door was right where the players had to go downstairs to the locker room. So I go, hey, Gino, what are you doing today? Nothing. I just try to make him talk.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I had a great relationship to was Corey Dillon.
For the
1 year we were together. Corey and I, I'd heard different things, and it is what it is. You hear different things, but Corey and I got along great. I know that he rubbed other people the wrong way and this, that, and the other thing, but I really enjoyed being around him. TJ was another one. Husmanzada. Kitna was another one who always would come see me. Andy, the Red Rifle would come by, and we would chat it up. And a lot of times too, they come by because I always brought the boys in to practice either on Saturdays or I'd bring the boys. They stayed for training camp. Coach Lewis always allowed us to bring our boys as long as they were working. And so Jackson, like Andy, I didn't know Andy was going to one of Jackson's games this past year. And when Andy was down in Carolina and they played down there, and Jackson sent me a picture. Hey, I saw Andy tonight.
Man, how cool is that?
Good, and it's good that, and Chad went over and saw Jackson. I forget, it might have been down in Miami they were playing. And Chad, and TJ, they all go see, if they go to a game and they see Jackson, they go, and I'll get a text, hey, I just saw Jackson tonight, or, talking about my son. And so it's cool to see him when he was 8 years old and the ball boy down at
Paul Brown,
Georgetown.
Oh, Georgetown,
running around as a ball boy, and then now here the 7-footer. He's not this little kid anymore, and they're going up. Hey, man, keep up doing what you're doing, all that good stuff. It's pretty cool. That's the part of coaching and having a coach that allows you to bring your kids and allowing them to get to know guys. And the best one, I got to tell you guys this story because you'll enjoy it. It was a Saturday and home game. So I brought Jackson with me, and he, you know, and Chad had already had his, or no, Jackson had a jersey, and it had 85 on it. And so Chad walks over and says, "Hey, man, you got my number. I must be your favorite player." He says, "No, Chad, my dad's is my favorite that wears 85." And TJ, of course, TJ heard it. Kitna hears it. All that, and they're blowing him up. They're just blowing Chad up, like, "Oh, Chad, you got," you know, they're giving him the business. And I just looked and I winked to Jackson, and I just walked on.
That's fantastic.
Oh.
I love that.
That's awesome.
All right, Coach. I know we said 30 minutes. You've been gracious enough to give us over 40. We appreciate your time
Of
so
course,
much.
guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys do a great job. I enjoy it. So
Thank you.
let me know if you ever need me back on.
We'd love
good
to have
luck
you
this
back
season.
on. Yeah, good luck
thank you.
this season too.
Let's go, Big Mo, baby.
There you go. Who day?
Who day?
Who
See you,
day?
Coach.
All right,
Thanks.
we'll see you guys.
See you.
I'm telling you, man, they should do a NFL should do a show on that town or something.
Oh my
I
God.
heard it from his brother too.
I mean,
like
they need a deep documentary on that.
No,
for sure.
they
well,
really do.
you hear like different towns that produced a lot of players. This town produced a lot of coaches. Like the
Lord.
coach
And
tree out of
players who produced
Pennsylvania is
everything.
crazy.
Oh my
Sure.
Lord. I mean, it's not just McDonald's that's there. I mean,
I think he's talking to us. Oh, he disappeared now. I think he was explaining something, but then he popped off. But man,
maybe he thought he was still in here. I don't know.
Yeah.
it's
But that town, Jesus, man, they really produced some coaches.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty incredible, man. So we really appreciate Coach with coming in, giving us that time and some fun stories and some fantastic information. I mean, guy who's been around football for so many years, it's crazy. Oh, there he is. All right, maybe he does.
What I was saying,
all
though,
right.
if you go back between players and coaches, and then guys that have turned into coaches, I mean, you look at Ditka, Danny Abramowitz, all those guys are from Pittsburgh. You know, Marino, as a player, he never coached, but then, you know, he becomes in the front office at the Dolphins. And, you know, of course, you have Bill and you have Marvin and Marty and Kurt and myself and my brother. And I mean, I got Jerry. You guys probably don't remember Jerry Oshasky. Jerry played middle linebacker for the Steelers, and then he ended up playing for the Bengals 1 year. But, you know, and he's been in coaching forever. It's just it's amazing. And I'm not doing it's justice on how many other guys that there are that from that area.
Well, I'll toss another one in because your brother talked about it. We asked, you know, who's a player that missed out on in the draft that he wishes we could have got.
Oh, yeah.
And he talked about Deshaun Jackson because the connection with his,
yes,
I believe it was
with
his
our
grandfather,
yeah,
in the church.
Yeah.
So there's another phenomenal player.
Yeah,
It's
the
incredible.
They could just do a show on that church. The NFL.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you better hurry up and do it because everyone's dying off, and I hate to say it like that.
Oh, come on. You guys are young. I mean, you're not all that old.
No, I'm talking about the people,
the old
originals.
The parents,
yeah.
The parents of them all. You know, that's who's kind of started it. Well,
This
I'll let
is
you
our
guys
other
get to your
co-host,
next
Joe Burrow.
section. It looks like you got someone up, so I'll let you get to your next section.
All right. Well,
all right. Thanks, guys.
yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya.
Man, he didn't have to hop off on my account.
Well, you scared him with that freaking
with that hair.
blonde haircut, man, looking like Joey B driving down the road.
And
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I might keep it.
There you go.
See, you were saying, "No, I'll never do that." Now you put whatever you did with it, and you're like, "Well, it ain't permanent." But now you're changing your mind. See,
I don't like
know
it
you
at all,
better.
Derek.
I know you better than you know you.
I need that twisty mustache back. You could do it in blonde, the twisty
Yeah.
mustache.
Man,
Do you think Burrow will see this and he'll try to grow out his facial hair like yours?
He might.
You know, he might just go with your look. So if you had the mustache, then we could get an elite Joe Burrow facial hair.
I'll bet you on Saturday he purposely overthrows the ball in the end zone right to Derek into 158 for a touchdown instead.
And that was getting to see Derek for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Right.
once a month.
I did that for y'all.
Well, goddamn, there goes my boner.
I don't want Clark Harris to yell at me, so
this might be Crypt Keeper's chance with Sarah also if she doesn't like the hair.
That's true.
Yeah.
I sent her a picture of it, and she said, what did she say? She said, if that's permanent, I'm getting the divorce papers.
Oh, Crib, she might be on the market, brother.
Oh, there you go. She comes with kids already. She got the starter pack.
Yep. Well, let's before we close this out, we got about another 10-15 minutes here. We can chat about some of the training camp goings on that we've been seeing around the league. I guess we could start right with Joe Burrow and the deep ball. So especially today, we've seen multiple deep balls. Looks like things are working out well. We can kick off with Greg and then go around the horn to Chop and Derek. What are you guys' thoughts so far on Joe Burrow and how he's looking progressing off of injury?
Tell you what, that passing through to Jackson today out of the pocket, anybody out there that's saying he's never going to be the same, just watch what you watch right now. I mean, I don't get tired of it. I certainly don't get tired of seeing Yoshi catching passes. I certainly don't get tired of that at all. But, man, I do, guys. As of right now, I'm just excited right now. I'm ready for some football. That's all I can tell you.
As far as Joe Burrow goes, man, I think he's had a great camp. I'm telling you, I'm still apprehensive the whole entire time because I'm conditioned for that. I'm 52 years old, man. I've been a Bengals fan my entire life. So I'm conditioned for the apprehension, and then I watch training camp live and I see all these other training camps. So I'm like, man, they look pretty good too. But I already know this is our year. This is our destiny year. So they can do what they want. Dale, I've been telling you, Greg, Derek, I've been telling you guys before last season that this was our destiny year. So I got total faith. The wide receiver battle, I thought Burton was a shoe-in on the third wide receiver. But, man, Yoshi is making a push. So it's becoming very interesting. Amari Sims.
We can kick that one next. See, you're getting too excited.
Okay,
so excited. Just going with Joe Burrow for now, and these
Joe Burrow,
and how he's looking.
I think he's looking great.
We'll let you start with the wide receiver stuff after Derek speaks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me personally, Joey B looks like Joey B. There's really nothing else to say besides that. I mean, what has me excited about it is the fact that it's not just you don't just see clips of the deep ball to the same receiver. It's literally I feel like every receiver on this freaking team has caught a deep ball from Burrow so far.
I was supposed to kick off wide receivers there, Derek. You're supposed to.
You're grounded.
Burrow. You got to listen. You got to listen.
I hit the transition for you.
I know.
Now you got to dye your hair orange and black tiger stripes because I still think that should be what Joe Burrow does instead of the blonde.
Yes, for Saturday.
Yeah, for when the actual game starts.
Yeah.
Next Saturday is the first preseason game. That'd be a good time. Or you can do it week 1. No pressure when you want to do it, but you need to do it.
I think Burrow will do it when we stripe the jungle.
He should. I think he should. All right, Chop. So kick off the wide receivers. This will be our next topic. We'll let you kick it off, then over to Greg, Derek, and maybe I'll talk. So
there's so much going on with the wide receiver room right now, all the way from the Chase, not a hold-in. I mean, T. Higgins signs his tender, so that looks good. I mean, those two guys are going to be our starters day one. And then the number 3, dude, Burton is awesome. Burton is he's first-round talent. So when he comes in here and he's challenged by a 6th-round pick from last year, man, that says something about Yoshi Vosh. not trying to get Greg a boner right here live on our
it's too late.
podcast. And I know his dick's about fucking at least half chub, me talking up his guy, because going into this camp, I would have never thought Yoshi had a chance at the number 3. But honestly, I wonder, was Yoshi at home when they picked Burton and he called Mike Hilton and he said, let's work out together? Because they worked out together on the offseason and he really learned that slot. So Charlie Jones looked good. Plus, like you were talking about the new kickoff thing. I mean, he's got a chance to be spectacular as a kickoff returner. So, man, I'm super excited about our receiving core. And I'm going to also include Mike Gesicki in that because he is a tight end. When Jonathan Hayes was on here and he was talking about Kittle and he was talking about Kelsey, I think that Gesicki has a chance this year. He's going to be playing with the best quarterback he's ever played with. And it doesn't matter who he played with because Joe Burrow is the best quarterback ever. And so I think he's going to be a big target this year. So I'm stoked going into the season with these wide receivers. I can't wait for Saturday to see you fuckers and then to go in there and see these kids play.
Well, I know Greg's going to want to start with the wide receivers right with Yoshi. So I will say also with the working out and stuff. And I mean, yeah, he worked out with Hilton, but he also was working with a wide receiver coach, an actual wide receiver coach. So was Chase Brown. So that was something I just wanted to toss in.
Nice. I didn't know that about Chase Brown.
Everyone, you might want to close your eyes.
Give him the big screen.
No, it's okay. No, I tell you what. Obviously, I mean, like, I just think the Bengals, the day they knew I was coming to practice, they're like, let's make sure Yoshi's right near Greg so he can film every single catch. But it just every single day you see. But I got to give one. Cincy James, you're watching this. Chuck Sizzle, man, he has been impressing the hell out of me in training camp right now. I mean, because I've been hearing stuff like he's been dropping passes. Because I really like Chuck Sizzle. We all know he's going to make the team as a kick return. But, man, catching that deep pass today, that was good. And Cedric Jackson, man, I don't think he's getting enough credit. I mean, all these guys deserve credit. And that guy we just signed from the XFL, each and every one of them just making plays. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, like, I think, you know who's on my list who I look forward to play next Saturday? The entire goddamn team.
The entire team.
Yeah, that's fair. Derek, your thoughts so far on the wide receivers in camp and the videos and stuff we've seen and who's impressing?
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate what these guys are saying, every single guy out there right now has been making plays all the way down to Cedric Jackson. I mean, I don't think there's a guy, like I said earlier, that hasn't caught a deep ball from Chase. And then, Dale, I think you mentioned it earlier, Chase Brown is also, I mean, he's put in a lot of work, and it's showing too. If you look at ADP and like fantasy drafts and stuff, he's rising up draft boards. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of faith in him as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to be an extent. I think Moss will get some receptions and he can do that as well. But I do think Chase Brown's going to be like another receiver at times because it's another weapon to use for Burrow. And that's fantastic. And also, you guys mentioned, Chuck Sizzle, Charlie Jones there. They said that he's added like 15 pounds.
Wow.
But yet his speed is just as good, if not better. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And hopefully it helps him to stay on the field and stay healthy. So when you've got Yoshi and you've got, and then no one even mentions Trenton Irwin because it's just like, okay, if you need a guy, if the starter's injured, Trenton's probably one of the guys coming in pretty quick and starting like he's done the last 2 or 3 seasons. So every time his name's called, he's out there making plays and contributing. So, I mean, it's nice to have the depth because things happen. Jermaine Burton was dinged up the other day with a foot, but it sounds like he's going to be okay. And, I mean, I think his best is yet to come. He's a rookie, and maybe he'll have a little struggles, or maybe, Charlie Jones and Yoshi will be getting more of the third receiver-wise, whether the tight end gets more of the running back. But the third behind, obviously, Chase and T. Higgins is going to get the most. But I think, those two might split it early, potentially, the way things are trending at least. But then a guy like Jermaine Burton, he's just so talented. And as the season goes on, you saw Yoshi get more and more involved as the season went on last year as a rookie. So I think that could be a similar thing that happens with Jermaine Burton. Even if he's not, don't freak out if he's not getting much playing time. early in the season, if he continues to progress, he'll get his opportunities. And I mean, he's a very talented receiver. It's a great group. It's a great
it is.
thing to have.
I do think Trent Irwin makes the team, though, because he has got so much continuity with Joe Burrow. And when he comes in the game, man, he makes clutch catches. So I think as a backup, he makes the team. I think these other guys that are kind of on the fringe are going to have a hard time passing up Trent Irwin, to be honest.
What was the other thing you were excited about?
Me?
Yeah, there was
Mims,
another one.
Amarius Mims. Look, going into camp, I would have never thought this guy could start. But everything that we're hearing, I still think Trent Brown starts, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Amarius Mims starting, because what if we heard bad? The only thing bad we heard is he had a fucking cramp the other day. It's fixed. He was back out there stretching today. I mean, this guy, Jesus Christ, man. Could we have found our such a good tackle? I mean, this guy's going to be playing for the Bengals for a long time, and most likely he's our future left tackle too.
Very excited. Whether he's left or right, I'm just excited that maybe we finally hit a pick, like you're saying. Like the Cedric Ablahe's, the Jake Fishers, even Billy Price, these offensive linemen high picks that just have not, Jackson Carman, that have not panned out. So it'd be nice to actually hit on a pick. And yeah, I mean, the longer Trent Brown's out, it sounded like, oh, it's just a little minor thing, and he's still out, right?
Yeah,
he's still not back as far as I know. So I don't know what's going on there. I feel like the longer he's out, as we're almost, if he's not back next week, and then we're playing a game next Saturday, preseason game 1, there's only 3 of them. I mean, I still think Trent Brown's probably the starter too, Chop.
Right.
But I do think that competition is maybe a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And Mims is going to play either way. He'll be an extra tackle. He'll be in there at times. He's gonna get on the field and get some action. I don't know. He might start. He might just take the job. It might be a Wally Pipp thing, and he wins the job because he wasn't around, and he never lets up on it, and he's a stud because, I mean, he's got the traits, he's got the size, the athleticism, talent. So hopefully he can do pretty well with that. We'll go to Derek and then up to Greg since I went on that one. What are your thoughts, Derek, with Mims or any of the other offensive linemen, if you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, everything I'm hearing, it sounds like Chop said, Mims is looking fantastic. And honestly, it almost makes more sense to have him start and then let Trent Brown be your swing tackle, because he does have some snaps at left tackle, right? I think he played a little bit left tackle.
I can't remember if he played any at Georgia or not. I'm not sure that he did, because he didn't have a ton of snaps anyways. He only had 800 in his whole career.
Right.
Yeah. But I like you said, Dale, just the thought of actually hitting on a freaking offensive lineman pick and being comfortable and having depth at tackle. When the hell have we said that?
Yeah. We've been like, do we have the starters?
Yeah.
Do we have 2 reliable starters? That's been a problem.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, what are your thoughts there on Mims, the line, Brown, who wins the job, all of that?
So, sort of same subject. I was talking to my garage door guy. Him and I started talking and all that. And you know what? He actually did go to one of Mike Brown's relatives' house, and they talked about, the reason why the Bengals were just terrible sometimes in the 90s, just simply because you can't hit on draft picks at times, like we were discussing with Mims. Sometimes there's no for sure thing, but it finally looks like we got this one finally in Mims. It may have taken a while, but Mims, man, I'm excited as hell. I agree with what Derek said. He should be the starter, and Trent Brown is a perfect insurance for the left and the right side to have. So yeah, no, exactly. I'm very excited with Mims in training camp. I mean, just positive stuff. Obviously, I had a little scare yesterday. Thank goodness, he's back this day. But no, I'm very, very excited for that as well.
And Trent Brown's a veteran. He's been in the league a long time. He's played a ton of left tackle, a ton of right tackle. Could he play left guard? If Volson is struggling, do you say, okay, we're going to give you a shot here at left guard? And you got all kinds of man meat out there on the left and right side with all three of the big dudes in there. Volson is still the biggest question for me, just to kind of continue with the O-line just for a second. I hope he takes that step. When the offense was changed and Browning was in, he looked a little better because they weren't just throwing the ball all the time. You know, the Bengals seem like in some of these clips that they're still going to go under center, play action, do a little more of that than they have in years past, that we've seen a little bit more in the San Francisco game. And maybe that helps Volson, and this isn't, you know, anything to worry about when the season starts, but it's just one of those things. You want to see how the actual play, and you want to see – I just want to see Cordell Volson, I guess, be more consistent for a longer time of the season is my biggest thing. So,
you know, I just keep thinking with Cordell Volson, like, I love Ted Karras, man, and his opinion means a lot to me, and he loves Cordell Volson. Like, going into this draft, he was so worried, not for himself. Yeah. He was worried they were going to draft someone to replace Cordell Volson. So, just knowing that and knowing Ted, I feel like Cordell Volson has got it in him, and I believe in him to take that step because I believe in Ted Karras.
I mean, I don't know. I hope.
That's what I'm saying, man.
You have more belief than me, and
staying positive.
That's okay. Yeah,
I'm staying positive.
I got to see it first, and another one that I.
This is the best line Joe's had, right? Regardless,
it feels like it on paper, and so far to start, yeah, and with just the depth and the talent, everything seems like the best Joe's had, and they've invested in it the past 2 or 3 years, trying to get it. I feel like to a point like this. Shit, I forgot what. Another one I'm not 100% sure about, like Volson, is on the defensive side, and that's still Dax Hill.
I knew you were going to say that one.
I feel like I'm a Dax Hill hater at this point because I'm always saying this, but I just not sold on him as an outside corner.
Right.
I know Coach Duff was on with us Wednesday. He was saying positive things about him and Juan Drago, DJ Turner. I think I like DJ to take another step this year if given the opportunity. And I'm just worried that Dax, I don't know, he just isn't an outside corner. He's a slot corner. He's a safety. That's just what I see him as, what I've always seen him as since he's coming out of Michigan.
He should do He should do like Coach Hayes said and learn how to put that ball between his legs and snap it. The more position,
the more you can do. Maybe.
And also punt. Maybe he could try some punt, some kickoffs. He could just be the backup.
Yeah, and then it's the question that I feel like we've said a million times. Like, yes, we want a veteran quarterback. You know, we really wish they would have went and got a veteran cornerback, but it's not seeming like that's a thought that they have. So I will say, bump and run Fig Newton, Josh Newton, was getting some run with the ones today, apparently at corner. So that's another guy that I think they're just banking on hopefully being good. I would rather have a proven guy, Stephon Gilmore, still out there. I'd love to bring a veteran. I know he's old as shit, but the man can still play. I would like to bring him in. Derek, your thoughts? I know you are the resident Dax Hill defender. You called that draft pick, so you have to defend him with your life. I believe you got a Dax Hill jersey as well, right?
I do. I am going to die on that hill.
And then his phone cut out. So he's dying on the hill. He's dying on the hill. His phone's losing service.
And his phone literally did die on the hill.
I would love to see a vet corner. It's not looking likely, but we'll see how preseason goes. Oh yeah, your phone's shite right now. We can barely hear you at all.
On that note, Dax Hill president.
Love you, buddy. Goodbye, Blonde Arrow.
Yeah, Blonde Arrow. Well, it's nice to have him while we could and see that beautiful face, that beautiful head of blonde hair it is that he was just telling us the other day. No way I'm doing that.
Yeah, I said, you got to diet once he showed the cut. And said, I'm not doing that.
I wonder if Sarah did it for him or if he just like.
No, he said, remember, he said that he sent her a picture and she talked about divorcing himself.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. Oh, Jesus. I guess he did it himself and didn't tell her.
Surprise!
I thought about it. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought, nah, fuck that shit. I'm too old for that, man. I'm just like done. I'm
Yeah.
too old for that shit. I did cross my mind.
We'll end with this. Chris Jenkins, I feel like we talked about him quite a few times on here, but Natty Ron brought it up. Expectations specifically for Jenkins is not something we've really dived. We've just said, we really like him. I mean, he's not been a big sack guy, but I don't know. Just being in the rotation, getting snaps, he's a good run defender. My expectations are he's just going to be a rotational guy. He takes Zach Carter's rotational snaps. That's my expectations and hopes this year for Chris Jenkins. And then I think, obviously, with those snaps, I think you're going to get more production. Now, sack numbers or this and that, I just think that's a very talented-ass player, that in the future is going to be a big part of this team. But even this year, I think he's got a role, a rotational guy in the interior. I think McKinley Jackson sounds like might have a role in the interior. So I'm definitely excited about both our rookies there. And then you got, Sheldon Rankins, BJ Hill. So it's another hopefully improved by committee, because replacing DJ Reader. Yeah. I almost said DJ Turner again. DJ Reader by himself is a tall task, but I think with committee, it's a lot easier. Greg, what's your thoughts? And then we'll get over Chop. And
I think this was discussed on Brews. I like the fact, look, do I still miss DJ? Sure. But I like the fact how we replaced it with three separate guys. So, Rankins and, Jenkins and Jackson. And, I haven't heard too much. I heard they put Jenkins in a couple of times. Jackson in at the nose tackle. But Jenkins, I'm just telling you this, just by his personality and if I had to get a jersey this year, a custom Bengals jersey, I'm getting Jenkins big time. I'm in the pro shop. Just so I don't know if they sell them at the pro shop yet, but I'm just so excited. Well, I ran to Lisa B. I'm like, where did you get the Jenkins jersey? She's like, I had to buy it personally. So those are usually like around $150. But I don't blame her. But those are, if I had to get one, it would be next to Yoshi. It would be Jenkins.
Fanatics is usually putting out a lot of the player jerseys. So at some point, I imagine
they are. Yes. So.
Did Greg just say he does not have a Josivas jersey?
I mean, RD, are you even a fan? Like, how do you not?
You're like,
I'm not rich
to be his number one fan.
Facebook fan, right?
I'm not rich like most of you are. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of jerseys hanging up back there. You got a lot of
let's go through this. I won that one. Well, I bought those two a couple years ago.
Traded Blanton's for John Ross.
Yeah. And you won't buy a Yoshi jersey. You had more faith in John Ross than you do Andre Josivas.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Ross jersey.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Lord.
But no Yoshi. Look, I know Yoshi's watching. I thought he was your number one fan, Andre. I did not know he didn't even own your jersey.
Well, I'm not sorry that I'm not rich. I don't have money up my ass right now, but I'll go.
You don't have a Josivas t-shirt?
I have a Josivas candle.
Oh, I guess my daughter's his number one fan because she
hey,
t-shirt.
Hey, no, wait. How did she get that signed Yoshi picture? That's what I want to know.
I said t-shirt.
What about the picture, though?
I didn't even mention that, but yes, she has that, and it's on her wall from Greg. Well, actually, from Andre Josivas.
From Andre Josivas. He said, this isn't for you. Make sure you get this to the day.
But no. I really do want to. I got to get a Yoshi jersey. In all honesty,
you do, because that'd be the one you'd wear like every game.
No. Well, see, the thing is, still, I have an orange Hubbard jersey. Man, should I get orange, white, or black? If I do get one,
one of each.
Oh God,
you're his biggest fan.
I mean, you're his biggest fan. You got to have one of each.
Okay, that's only like around $1,000 plus, and I'm sure shipping's not included. But
write a check, Greg. You'll get the stuff.
30% off at the NFL shop with being a season ticket holder.
I'd have to run it by Cincy James since I'm in his name and all that. So
I know somebody who makes cheap jerseys.
That's true.
I got a hookup.
How do you not have a knockoff at least?
But if I'm going to get, I want to get a good one. I want to get the authentic one, man. I mean,
you get that like $400 one. They always have them like real.
Oh no, I should get the used one.
Oh Jesus Christ! You'll Geez,
like one that Yoshi wore on the field. Greg be sleeping.
You think that Greg desecrated that Presbyterian church? Let him get a game-worn Yoshi jersey.
Should I get the jock strap if it comes with it?
It'd be a black jersey turned fucking white.
Oh yeah, it'll look. It's gonna be a wadded mess. It'll be like a peel apart.
You think fucking Spider-Man was in there just shooting wires everywhere?
Greg, look, 1 week after Greg gets that jersey, man.
When I was at training camp, well, I think I told you guys when I was at training camp, like I told you guys, I was in a rush to get out of my car because I wanted to be first in line, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these Bengals fans going to the line. I'm like, wait a minute, those are the players. These are big dudes. Yoshi was walking right past me. The security guard was covering the barricade. I had my shot to come up to Yoshi and say, Yoshi, I'm your biggest fan.
Well, thank God you didn't do that.
No, I didn't do that because he would have never come on the show after that. I'm like, just be cool. He did give me this look like, why is that dude looking at me and all that and stuff? But
Greg's just like,
he turned back to the offensive line when they were walking. He was like, that's the guy. Keep
this
walking.
is what I was like.
That's the one right there.
Look at my
Greg's over there like this.
Why do you think they knew you were there, Greg? They already had scouted out the crowd, and that's why Yoshi was walking with the offensive line. Like, you're going to learn protection now because Big Savage is out there, and we need you to get to the practice field safe. So you walk with the offensive line. And
I see. No, because he would never come on that show. He would never come on our show.
There'd be some coming going on.
All kind of coming.
I got hair in my mouth. Okay.
So Crip wants to know if you're going to cut the nipple holes out.
Yeah, why not?
Yes.
No, but I seriously do need to get I did tell myself that I got to get something taken care of.
That might be my favorite comment, man. Cut the nipple holes out.
I mean, that he's taking the shirt off anyway. Yeah.
They could just lean forward and be like,
well, no, so
you need to pierce them like yours.
All right. No. I got another thing to tell you guys. So when I was word gets around quickly on social media, and I go over to my family's house, my parents are like, Greg, we need to talk to you about something. I'm like, is someone sick or something? She's like, what's this rumor about dyeing your hair blonde? You're not going to go through with it, are you? I'm like, how the hell did you find that out?
Well, if your mom and dad have found out about the blonde hair dye, they most certainly know about the shit you took at that Presbyterian church.
That's a fact.
And every other goddamn thing we've said on here. So, hey, Sally, how you doing? It's your boy. It's your little Greggy.
You know what she's not disappointed in? Midwest Best Barbecue.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, Midwest Best Barbecue and 50 West Beer, proud sponsors of our show. Like the Bengals wide receivers, they also have great depth at both places.
They do. That's not a lie. Except I was talking about that chicken sandwich last night at work about Santori eating that 2 minute
Santori
sandwich.
That poor Santori. I don't even want to see it anymore. I was uncomfortable just watching him eat it, man.
Yeah, I ain't about the spice, man. That heat, I'm good on all that.
Yeah, but no. I should get I got to get a Yoshi. That's a crime I've committed so far.
It really is, man. It's just one of those things that never really thought about it. You would just automatically assume that Greg would already have a Yoshi jersey.
Well, I've seen some of these other fans who are not even close to my Yoshi fanness that have Yoshi jerseys. I'm like, well, that's not right.
Are you going to get it says Yoshi Vosh or Yoshi?
Yeah, Yoshi Vosh. I'm probably one of the only few people that knows how to spell his name correctly.
Or Jesus, I'll bet you do.
Wait.
You probably
motherfucker says I can spell it correctly, and then he's
no. Someone look up his name. Look up his name.
Right.
Forget.
No. Someone look up his name. See if I got this. IOSIVAS.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Why?
Maybe I'm his number one fan.
I just do. YOSHI.
Yeah, that's also fair. That also correct.
Yes.
Also a correct response.
All right.
Yeah.
Chris Jenkins, as far as you were talking about him, that comment, like, how high am I on Chris Jenkins? I'm Tommy Chong high on Chris Jenkins. I'm super excited about that guy. I think that, like you said, Dale, like he wasn't really a pass rusher, but I also think that he just wasn't given the opportunity for that in Michigan. So I'm looking forward to it. And you talk about replacing DJ Reader. It's kind of like you replaced a really good primary care physician. A primary care physician knows how to do everything, and they do everything good. But now we got specialists, you know what I'm saying, that come in there and break down each part of DJ Reader's game and hopefully do it a little bit better if that can be done.
Absolutely, man. Greg, do you have anything on Jenkins or any of them that you wanted to mention before we end this one?
Yeah, no, like I say, Jenkins, though, I'm just saying, that's a guy I'm just really highly rooting for right now. I mean, he's just, like I said, I know I've talked about this last week, and I'm like, I had one of the best weeks ever training camp with my two nephews, and like literally Jenkins was walking in the locker room, and I just asked him, hey, can you send for my nephews? He's like, all right, and he just comes over. So just that's a guy you're just rooting for so badly. But no, he is just going to be, I think within a couple of years, I would not be surprised if he's the leader of our defense.
Well, he was a captain in Michigan, so I expect big things out of him.
I guess I got to go back to Greg's favorite player one more time here because Dan Horde's observations. Andre Yosavash is catching every pass away from his body after working with noted wide receiver guru Drew Lieberman in the offseason.
Oh, shit.
We would literally run full speed straight at him, and if you didn't have your arms fully extended, we'd have to do it again, said Yosavash. So the wide receiver coach, all of that stuff has worked out.
What the hell is going on here?
And Andre Yosavash is catching everything his way. He's catching it outside his body. Andre Yosavash.
I gotta get more. I gotta get more out here. This is turning me. Oh yeah. Oh God.
Andre Yosavash could be a starting wide receiver this year. He had 4 touchdowns last year. What if he ends up with 10 touchdowns this year, Greg?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Well, that's the only way.
What else can we do? Well, real quick though, Greg, stand up. It's Dotbot Friday. Now you got to do the Dotbot with the barbecue sauce and the titties out. Keep the titties out and Dotbot it up.
Man, I bet Midwest Best Barbecue is so glad.
Hey, look, they just sold so many.
Got him another thing of hot sauce,
right?
Because I know they usually listen to it back in the kitchen. You will have to watch this clip.
Yes.
What did I just do? What in the world did I just do?
Well,
you just made the new commercial for Midwest Best Barbecue.
That's the commercial, yeah.
All right, hold on. I haven't stopped by in a while. Patience is a virtue, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, look on Twitter. Corey Dillon did the Dotbot sporadically. It's just instantaneous.
on a golf course.
Here we go.
In California.
Yes.
Oh, I'm Yoshi Dotbot. It's Yoshi Bot today. Yoshi, clip this, Dale. If you're watching this, Yoshi, come on and I will show you the Dotbot along with Corey. You will be in the Dotbot club.
Yeah, don't worry, Greg. There's a part of this episode that will be clipped.
Show that will be clipped.
It definitely will be clipped.
And Andre Yosavash will be tagged.
Yes,
but it will be the Dotbot.
Yes.
It will be you.
I'm looking forward to that clip.
Delicious barbecue sauce. I love you. Fuck
yeah.
Shit.
That's why they call him Big Savage.
God bless America. What a great Friday.
Yes.
We love y'all. You got the real Dotbot, so I'm not going to play the video. We're just going to end this one. Love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back on Monday. Hoo day!